You don't need for me to tell you this, but our country, it's under attack. Our fundamental way of life is now being threatened. Our children, our young people, they are the targets. How many more people have to suffer from an accidental overdose for all Americans to understand that America's drug crisis has now spiraled out of control? Some of the overdoses are getting attention because they or their father or grandfather are celebrities. But just how many kids are now killing themselves due to drugs? Teen overdose deaths have now nearly tripled between 2019 and 2021. What happened during those years? Officials estimate over 100,000 people overdose across the U.S. every single year. That's about 3,000 people daily. Think about that number, 3,000. That's as if a major jetliner crashed every single day, filled with mostly young people crashing and dying and no one batting an eye. In San Francisco, the liberal utopia of America, the home of Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, and your favorite shadow presidential campaigner, Gavin Newsom, it's now experiencing another record-breaking year of drug overdoses. And of course, we know what the main culprit is: fentanyl, accounting for more than 80% of those deaths. Let me ask you this. Have you ever even heard of the word fentanyl before Joe Biden became the president? I'm guessing only if you were in the medical field. Fentanyl continues to pour through our open border. But don't worry. Biden has now put a stop to all of that. Here is our president alongside Mexican President Lopez Obrador Friday on the new challenges at the southern border.
We see in our security cooperation, we're working side by side to combat arms trafficking, to tackle organized crime, and to address the opioid epidemic, and including fentanyl, which, when we talk privately, I want to tell you about my great conversation with Xi Jinping on that issue.
Did you hear that? He said Biden thinks he had a great conversation with Communist Party leader, China's President Xi Jinping, a man who is BFFs with Russian President Vladimir Putin, so much so he gave him money so they could invade Ukraine, a guy who continues to brutalize the Uyghur Muslims there in China. And those are just a few of his amazing qualities that obviously make him a trustworthy man that Biden should trust, right? I mean, you see, on Wednesday, Biden and Xi announced during a meeting in San Francisco that China will now tell its chemical companies to curtail shipments of the materials used to produce fentanyl to Latin America, to Mexico. And we know now that those chemicals are used to make the finished product of fentanyl, which is then smuggled into the United States by the cartels. And notice Biden's usage of the word curtail, which only means to slow down. So rather than send enough raw material of fentanyl to kill, say, 5 million people, China will now only send enough to kill 4 million Americans. So great conversation, great deal there. And just when you thought Biden couldn't be more clueless, he's asked by a reporter after his supposedly successful meeting with Xi if Xi is a dictator.
After today, would you still refer to President Xi as a dictator? This is a term that you used earlier this year.
Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that he is the guy who runs a country that is a communist country that is based on a form of government totally different than ours.
And now let's see the video of Antony Blinken as Biden said, yes, Xi is a dictator. You saw that? Can you say cringe? Talk about taking one step forward and leaps and bounds backwards. But that's what Biden has been doing every step of this presidency. I mean, even his own people are like, ooh, ouch. He is taking this country backwards. And why didn't Biden call Xi a dictator to his face? By the way, notice I keep saying illegals and not migrant, and that this is indeed an invasion. I mean, what else would you call a group of military-aged men coming illegally into a country? They claim they want asylum. They claim they want to work. Yet here in New York City, where we're seeing the illegals all over, less than 2% of the 150,000 illegals have now applied for work visas. These guys, these so-called asylum seekers, they don't want to work. They want to grift, leaving me and you on the hook. A new report now reveals that it's going to cost American taxpayers $451 billion a year to take care of all the illegals across the United States. In New York City, the fiscal crisis has now reached a boiling point, with Mayor Adams announcing major cuts to several vital services in order to pay for the illegals, hotel stays, food, education, healthcare, and more.
But For months, you've heard me talk about the fiscal challenges our city is facing as the costs of the asylum seeker humanitarian crisis have skyrocketed, placing great strain on our budget.
And notice he refuses to call out President Biden. All he wants is more money, more money. And now to close that budget gap, who has to pay for it? We do. The city says it's going to make cuts to police, schools, and other social services. Once again, Americans are paying the price because Biden, he wants to fundamentally change America and bring in as many potential Democrat voters as possible. And if it's happening here in New York City, get ready. It's coming to a city near you.